Welcome to Mornings with Matt, personal and professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jason Isaak. How you doing, sir?
Oh, sorry. Life's good over here. You might hear an occasional dog or bird chirping, but we got a lot of folks in the house right now that are quarantined appropriately.
Yeah.
And so moved it all outside.
So tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are a little bit.
Yeah. So native Tucsonan, actually. I get a lot of ribbing from all my friends up here in the state of Maricopa, as we like to call it. But yeah, born and raised in Tucson. Went off to Texas for school, then back to Washington, D.C. for almost 8 years working on Capitol Hill. Back to Arizona. I missed it. You know, once the desert's in your blood, you cannot get rid of it.
Yeah.
And got back here, spent 20 years kind of in public affairs. And the last couple of years have been working as chief advisor to the Arizona Attorney General, Mark Brnovich. So been having a blast.
So you are on the front lines of what's going on right now a little bit, huh?
Yes and no. I mean, the governor is the one who is doing the executive orders, who's, leading all the efforts. We represent a number of the state agencies, so we'll engage at times there. We've been fighting lawsuits on COVID-related scams. People, times like these bring out the best in people. It also brings out the worst.
I was afraid of that as we were filling out our paperwork. I was just thinking to myself, I hope people aren't taking advantage of this because
unfortunately they are.
Really,
they are, and it's everything from someone knocking on, typically a senior's door saying, "Hey, I can come in and clean out all the COVID from your house."
Oh, geez.
You have no idea what their intentions are. To the text message that people will get and say, "Hey, if you just give us your bank account and your social security number, we'll make sure you get your stimulus money quickly."
Yeah.
And there are a lot of trusting people in the world,
right?
And a lot of people who want to separate you from your money. Brnovich likes to say, we all need to practice good social distancing and all that to flatten the curve, but I'm here to make sure that none of the bad guys flatten your wallet. And I thought, it's a pretty good way to think about it, but
yeah,
it's really just being smart. Don't click on links. Don't respond to people who you're not expecting to hear from. If it sounds too good to be true,
yeah,
it probably is. So it's been interesting.
A lot of people might be surprised at just how good these people have gotten at these scams lately. I mean, I know I walked in the other day to my wife who was on the phone with an Apple associate who was going to reset her ID for her. And I walked in and I'm like, "What are you doing, babe?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm on the phone with Apple." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm just in the background and I hear him asking her questions. Like he wanted to get her router number and like different. And I'm like, babe, hang up the phone. And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Hang up the phone." And he's like, "No, sir." And like the dude was fighting with me and they were literally trying to hack into our house at the time. I was like,
thank you for telling that story, because I think one of the biggest things is when our office gets calls. Last year, I think we got 15,000 calls from consumers saying they thought they'd been scammed, and it could range from, a carpet cleaner that just was not being honest in how they represented what they were going to do.
Sure.
But that's all the way to the prince from Nigeria who, is going to send you $10 million.
Yeah.
The reality is, people fall for it, and don't be ashamed of it. Tell somebody, report it, because it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
We're trusting people in general.
Yeah.
Actors in particular have to have a lot of trust
totally
built into what they do. And so, when you're a trusting individual, it's, they're trying to help me. And it's, just keep the antenna up, I think is the short line. So
I fell for like a legal scam early on in our business where, it was basically extortion, but this company came in to save us on our merchant services account.
Yep.
And the guy gets me to sign something, and next thing you know, I've got a $35 fee a month for like 8 years I'm locked into because I signed this piece of paper and I had no idea what I was doing, you know. And I tried to get out of it, and it was like, I mean, it was a nightmare, really.
Yeah, we have toner pirates, or what they're called. We prosecuted a case successfully last year on this, and that's companies typically, well, they can be in or out of state, that they'll send you an invoice for toner, and typically a little larger company, you know, if you get 50 or more people, no one's quite sure who did actually fill the toner up in the copy machine,
Right.
but they'll pay a bill, and there was never any product delivered, or if there was, it's an inferior product.
Wow.
And so, yeah. And I think we returned in that case, man, it was high six figures or kind of low seven figures. I can't remember, but they got returned to businesses here in Arizona just because, you know, we were able to find them and prosecute them.
That's awesome. That's very
so
cool.
Yeah.
Well,
and then I love on the side do a little acting.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels good out here to know that we're being protected a little bit, you know, legally, and you guys have an eye out for us. So yeah, you are an actor. That's and a good one, by the way. I should tell you, because you've been to our studio many times for castings and classes, and you know, you've got a lot of talent. So have you been exercising any of your acting talent recently?
Oh, I'll tell you, it's been and super bittersweet. I was supposed to be going up in 2 weeks, with Mamma Mia down at the Phoenix Theater. And obviously theater is not in the state right now where anyone's performing.
Yeah.
So it was going to be the Pierce Brosnan character for those who saw the movie, and with Almost Famous Theater.
Yeah.
And it was something I haven't done a musical in 30 plus years, and I was a little hesitant to step in and even audition.
Right.
And my wife said, "You have to audition for this one." And so, you know, I'd actually been doing character work and working on script. So we're very hopeful that we'll be able to put it up in the fall.
Yeah.
And you know, I think everyone in the theater world is struggling with, you know, who's keeping rights. You know, everything has been delayed.
Yeah.
And so, you know, again, that's a whole different world that I don't know or understand.
Right.
But you know, so I do keep those chops going a little bit just with the reading, and I wanted to talk to you about some of that.
Sure.
But one thing quarantine brings, especially when you've got a house full, we've got 4 teenage boys here at the house.
Okay.
And all of them creative in their own way. And one of our favorite things to do is the improv game where everyone says a word to complete a sentence.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, with 4 high school boys, the word fart works its way in relatively quickly.
Sure.
So I thought, you know what? I want to find out from Matt, what are some of your favorite kind of family improv games, something that mixes it up a little bit. You know, we do great exercises in your classes, warm-ups, warm-downs, that are typically, I don't know, in my opinion, they're great for a huge group.
Yeah.
Like in class, but I'm wondering if you got some things for 4 or 5 or 6 people that could sit around and you know, some suggestions would be great.
Yeah, we've got a few things. So just to get the wheels turning, this is one of the exercises we do with all the corporate clients that we have. You've done this before. We do like a top 10 exercise, like David Letterman.
Yeah.
So you get a topic, you list off your top 10. Then what's nice is you get the whole room involved. So as you're delivering your whatever your answers are, everyone's yelling out 1, 2, 3, and you kind of like you warm up that way. Then from there you can do that same exercise from a character point of view. So then all of a sudden you get people thinking like, oh, I don't have to be myself. So they could do it. You know, okay, now you're an 80-year-old grandmother who owns a Jewish bagel bakery, you know, and you're doing top 10 from there, you know. So that one's fun. And then another one, just again to get warmed up, is one we call extemporaneous speaking. So you'll get a topic and then you just got to go. And what's interesting is if you do this from your real life, then people become stand-up comedians like really easily. And so the idea being, you get a topic, and then you go what's called A to C. So you move away from the idea, and you got to tell a real life story that was inspired by that word. So, for instance, Brian, give me a word.
Friendship.
Okay, so friendship is the word. Now I want you to go away from that word, but use the word friendship to be inspired by some story from your childhood or some story from your life that kind of has nothing to do with friendship, actually. So just like what came to mind? I'll just ask you. You don't need to tell me the story, but what came to mind?
Cigar, actually.
Cigar. Okay, good. So you tell us this long story about a cigar, right? And it'd be a real story. And the more detailed you get with it, usually the funnier it is, because the funny is usually in the details. So you time these, and when you get to about 45, 50 seconds, you give a cue. And that's when everybody gets to lie. So you're telling the truth the whole time, and then you lie and you pull it back to the word friendship. So let's say in this story, it's a cigar, and I don't know, you found a cigar on the side of the road or something like that, and you're telling this long story, and you end up, talking to the cigar owner shop or whatever, and all that's true. And then at the end, then you tell us how it started off this beautiful friendship, which got you into the job that you're in now. And that would be the lie part of the story, but you have to work the word back in.
Love it. Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, we've got some kids that we'll do both of those with, and we got the weekend ahead of us. So
yeah, absolutely.
School is so strange. Your oldest is still 8 or 9.
He's 8. Yeah.
So you're in a different spot entirely. My wife and I were talking last night about how I'm so glad we don't have little kids, because it's constant. And then we stopped and thought, yeah, but you know what? Our 14 through 18-year-olds have all got a different set of issues.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Being homebound is pretty tough.
Does anyone have a girlfriend that they're having to be quarantined away from?
The oldest.
That's got to be tough, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. We're having as much fun with that as we can. But it is also amazing. I mean, the fact that we're Zooming right now, I don't live too far from the studio, but everyone's just being smart and safe right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this type of technology that didn't exist when I was growing up.
Right.
I got quite a few years on you, I think. So I would suspect that, we had one phone, and it was my sister and I fighting over who had access to the phone at any given moment.
Yeah.
And it was a different world. So today you can sit there and look at somebody, and it's amazing.
Right. We talk a lot about that around here, just the finding a way right now to really focus on what you can do versus what you can't do, and what are the advantages, and what I think this is a land grab right now. I think this is an opportunity to seek gold, because the world is shifting. There's no doubt. So things are going to change. Some things will change forever. That's how it is. And the reason is because we will evolve and adapt. And I know we did at our studio. So within 2 weeks, we probably progressed 2 years technologically. Yeah. We were set up for all this stuff. I had been working on online courses for probably 2.5 years. But it was on the back burner because we were so busy with everything else we had going on, Right. And then all of a sudden, everything's been taken off your plate, and it's like, hey, we don't know when this is going to come back. You better do this thing if you want to survive, And next thing you know, you work a few 18-hour days in a row, and we're up and running. I mean, we have a fully fledged online acting school doing virtual classes, and it's not just a Zoom link. I mean, it's awesome. We have 3 cameras in here, 4 cameras actually. The way that we interact with students and we bring them together, and I mean, it's very unique and fun. But I credit this technology to that, very much so. And then I think too, we all got in a Zoom for our grandmother's birthday party, because we couldn't go see her, And so there's probably 20 family members that were using our account because we upgraded for the studio and stuff, and we're all there and talking to her. And it dawned on me that when we were like when we would go to family party, we would all sort of be in different rooms and kind of click off a little bit because you have to, you know. And here, everyone's engaged the whole time listening because they got nothing else to do, you know. I mean, this is the only thing that's important. So in 20 minutes, you can get exhausted from the amount of connection that you make with people versus.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Like, think about this right now. Like, you and I are just, like, locked in because we have to be.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious. So professionally, I guess we just heard one personal story, but that's more on the technology front. Professionally, you talked about that pivot. It was, you had time, you had margin to be able to work more on some of the technological things that you've been thinking about, but preoccupied with other classes, castings, whatever it is. What in your personal life has changed that's going to be a new sticky habit for you? I know for our family, we have literally been building fires, and we're getting warm now, but we've been eating out by the chimenea every night. We never did that before. And I don't know why we didn't do it. Partly because, we had one kid running off to megaton jiu-jitsu. We had one kid running off to baseball practice. We had one kid, here and there. Now we're stuck, but it's kind of a cool habit for us now. And I think we're going to keep finding ways to have dinner outside because it's just a different level of connection. I'm wondering if there's anything like that you guys just at home have discovered as a new habit.
Not really. We've been in a pretty deep grind over here at the studio because essentially, if you think about it, we as actors in an acting school connected to all that, we are in advertising, and advertising right now is just getting killed. I mean, the bulk of our money coming in is actually corporate work nowadays. So I work with politicians, I work with CEOs, I work with big business nowadays. And right now they're all like, whoa, I need to take a minute to make sure I can keep all my employees on staff. And I'm like, I get it. Yeah. So we've been grinding. So I think the one big thing I can say for family is we have definitely just come closer. We talk about things really quickly. We talk about anytime there's a struggle, like if my wife has a breakdown, we talk about it. Our kids feel very safe to just have a quick cry, and we celebrate that. We're like, hey, we're feeling the same feels. My daughter the other day just kind of randomly was just feeling sad, and she's like, I just hate this coronavirus. I want to kick it. I want to punch it. I want to, and she's 6. And so I go in my son's room, I grab the beanbag and I hold it up and I go ahead, go for it. And she just boxed that thing till she passed out. And then my son did the same thing, and it was great. They got to get those feelings out a little bit. So the one probably sticky habit is my kids have been coming to the studio quite a bit.
Yeah,
they come here, they work with me. They found their own little like niches around here. They got their own little hiding spots, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, my son's been very productive actually. Like he's saved me hours of time because he's doing really cool stuff. So we're gonna do that, and we were already a homeschool family actually. So that adjustment was very easy for us. Now they had a lot of social activities, so that's been killing them. That it hurts them, but like they've just gotten to see dad work and mom work at a whole new level, like a completely different viewpoint of what we're capable of. And it just, I was telling these guys, it reminded me back, we started in 2007. So we began in the financial crisis. I just had no idea we were in a financial crisis. So, failure was never an option. And then, we went through another crisis later on when we were doing a build out and we had people steal money and all these different things. And so like we've faced this kind of thing before. And so now it's just a matter of like, it's such a world of uncertainty. That's the only thing that's scary to people is when you don't know the answer. So if you can just kind of release that a little bit and say, okay, what can I do? How can I be positive? I mean, our thing, the first thing I sat down and said, all right, well, we're going to double, triple, quadruple down on our giving. That's how we're going to combat this thing. And that's what we've been doing. Yeah.
That's powerful and great lessons for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that are good. Of course we don't want to be in this, but there's been a lot of things that have been good.
So another thing I've been trying to do is read more. But I think one thing for actors, and I mentioned that, I've been reading the Mamma Mia script over and over again and doing that. But I think reading plays I think it's a really great way for an actor to just stay sharp. You don't necessarily even need to, you don't need to act anything out. You could pick a character, maybe just play around with some character work if you wanted to. But do you have a couple of favorite plays that actors should just be reading? As a matter of course, you can pop it on your Kindle, and Shakespeare's a little dense at times, but are there either some classic plays or anything that you think is good for an actor to read?
Well, all of them, yeah. So
all of them.
So, for you, I'll say one you probably haven't heard before. The Killdeer, I think, would be a good read for you, and an interesting play.
It's a relatively recent one, right?
Relatively, yeah.
Within the last, I've heard of it, but and someone had recommended that as someone else. I've heard it from two people now, so
okay. It might have been me in the past. Who knows? I don't know.
Might have been. Yeah.
But you'd be good casting for the lead. I mean, it's a good part, and it basically just deals with a middle class family and having to just what it's like to be middle class. It's tough, But as far as to answer your question for actors in general, the answer that I give is there is never an excuse not to be a working actor. You can decide to be a working actor this morning if you decide to work on your acting. It's that easy. And yes, you should be reading every book ever written by any acting instructor ever, and you'll never get through them all. And you should be reading every play that's ever been written, and you can't even touch the iceberg on that thing. So
right.
Where I start is just go ahead and start with the Pulitzer Prize winners. Start with the Tony Award winning plays, and like why not? Why not dig into those characters and those stories? And a lot of times, like the first one or two reads of a play, you don't quite get it too. Because when you read it versus when you see it, or when you see it being directed at a really, really high level, it's so different, because you watch the actors or the director find those little tiny nuances that really make the words pop off the page,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's just a no-brainer. As an actor, you have to be smart. That's one of the big messages I tell the kids and the high schoolers and stuff is like, if you really want to do this, you have to be very intelligent, because you have to find a way to become different characters. And what if you got to play a doctor? You have to really know what you're doing in the ER so you can play it well. So yeah.
Yeah. So there is no bad choice. I mean, you could finish a play and not like it maybe, but it's still, you're still reading stage directing. You're still reading how this,
and then it's like, and then write down what you didn't like about it, and maybe don't repeat that same thing. I mean, don't go cheap. That's what I'm saying. Like why, if you just start with the Pulitzer Prize winners and the Tony Award winners, and then the runners,
you're going to be fine.
The runners up, you'll never get through them all. You just won't. So then as you're reading, then you grab ones that you want to be in, and you dig really deep into those. And, I mean, that study alone will be awesome. So you working on Mamma Mia right now is amazing. Like, that's great. So then just because you're already sort of on the next level, I would recommend either grab a play that feels similar to your character and just something else, or something by the same playwright. So if you can read something else by them, maybe you can pick up some clues and hints about their style. And there's always a hidden gem you can find to find just something new out of that script that you can bring to the next performance.
I think I'll be reading Killdeer before too long. So thanks for that recommendation.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah. A couple other things I just wanted to touch on, and again, I really appreciate the opportunity to do this, Matt. This is awesome.
It is, dude. This is so much fun, man. I've had a blast doing this. This was one of our giving adventures we had. It was like, all right, well, Brian's doing one for teenagers. It's awesome. It's called Teen Quarantine. He's on there every day, and he's just connecting with kids and letting them kind of pour out their feelings a little bit, And and then this morning show has been a lot of fun too. So,
and putting out daily content, or as close to that as possible, that's tough. I mean, it's intense. So hats off.
We are putting up probably 3 to 8 videos a day right now.
Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a grind.
It's a grind.
The podcast I do is I finally got to a 2-week cadence.
Yeah.
So they're long form interviews, and just with work and family, that weekly was too tough.
Yeah.
And I'm in a break right now. Last episode was in December. I'm trying to figure out kind of what the right cadence is, because I've never done an online interview like this. It's always in person and across the table from each other. So I'm kind of just sorting through. I've taken that time to update the website, get a new theme, try and do some things that I hadn't done because didn't have time before. Right. And now, instead of prepping for an interview, I can update a website or something like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Just having been over at the studio a fair amount, I am curious, in your years now of coaching and instructing, and whether it's a corporate or a kid, if there was one word you could tattoo on your forehead that is the word that kind of keeps coming back, which is your either encouragement or admonition or whatever, is there one word that kind of keeps coming back where actors kind of forget or get stuck or just need that reminder?
Yeah, that's tough. There's a lot of words. I mean, if I had to pick one, it'd be the word listen.
Yeah.
And because that's my whole MO. I mean, I'm writing a book called The Best Listener in the Room. I'm obsessed with listening. I believe it's one of the great superpowers that we have in this world, and it's a never-ending quest to learn to listen to each other, listen to words, listen to affect, listen to feeling, listen to environment, listen to self, listen to God. There's so many things that will help you get deeper and deeper as a human being, and by doing so, connects you into your acting. So the word listen absolutely is huge. But then the other thing, and this is not one word, but it's just work ethic. I mean, people settle. They set the wrong goals, and then they achieve those goals, and they're very unfulfilled. So you think you want an agent usually, that's a first big step, and I think that's great. You should get an agent. But if that's your goal and you achieve it, you're going to be very unsatisfied, because you find out very quickly that you have an agent that doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. You still have not gotten a single gig. And then even getting a gig, what does that mean? Nothing. It means nothing. It means you get to work for a day, and then that's it. You get a play. Great. It means nothing. So what you want to do is start setting yourself up for success by setting goals that are progress related, that are skills based related. And whenever I can get people on this track, what happens is I set them on a path to set really good, tangible work ethic goals, so that I always say, like, you don't want to make $1 million. You want to become the person who's capable of making $1 million. And there's a big difference between those two, because you could really focus on the $1 million, and then mom dies and you get a check and you're like, it's not what I meant. Well, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
So if you can become the person who's capable of landing the role, of landing the play, of landing whatever, then all of a sudden, you're usually well beyond the original goal you would have set for yourself, and it's very easy then to come back and get an agent, or you're landing gigs easily. And ideally, if you have the right mindset, the gig just gets in the way of the work. It's like an annoyance for the day. And you're grateful for it, but it just gets in the way.
Sticker right there, Matt.
Yeah.
The gig gets in the way of the work.
I'm so passionate about this. I really am. I mean, we work at another level. We believe in this stuff, and I have worked with some of the most talented, high level people. I've been very fortunate. A couple actors came through that are, very well known, and they were already so before they met me. I didn't make them that way. They were that way. So what's the difference? They made me better. As soon as I knew that this person was coming in, I grabbed my acting books and I poured right back through it. And I'm like digging, taking notes, this and that, and I sit in, and then turns out it was easy. Like I had everything I needed already, but it didn't matter. Like, I'm trying to find a way to get better. And then I did, by coaching them, found a way to get better over time. Well, why did they come to see me? They already had the gig. These people already had landed the job. They were already rich. It had nothing to do with that. It was just about getting this much better. Like, can I get this much better? And it's people with that mentality that end up becoming successful. If you don't have that mentality, there's no way. Like, you have no chance.
Yeah. So that's a great segue kind of into the last kind of broad category, and I'm happy to chat beyond that. But I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits by a guy named James Clear.
Yep.
It's an amazing book.
It's a great book.
And, and his line that I will always remember is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And I think that is a really poignant point.
Yeah.
And you just a few moments ago, when we were talking about plays and reading, we're like, you need the habit. You need to be in the habit of reading everything you can, always working, always studying, always doing things like that. And I know in your classes as well that there are assignments. This is what you need to accomplish every day if you want to be a working actor or just an actor, period.
Yeah.
Do these several things every day. And I'm curious if you found that there are a couple things that are just high level. Reading, possibly one, maybe just your own improv game as you're driving. Are there a few things that are just systematic that you've found really help keep you sharp all the time?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'll just give it a plug because I did write a book on this. It's called Acting is My Day Job, and I've already finished the second book, and that's actually the one I started with. And so before I answer your question, number one, go get that book, Acting is My Day Job, because I lay it out for actors, but it's really artists. Like, I had a corporate client I was working with who told me his daughter was an opera singer, and she was running into these issues of, how do I make this a living? And so I gifted him the book, said, give this to your daughter. And then about 2 weeks later, he's like, my daughter read the book, and she's completely shifted. Her whole life has changed because now she has a way to organize her thoughts as an artist to make a living. So it's really, it's called Acting is My Day Job, but to act is to do. So the philosophy is, whatever your dream is, if you want to make that your living, if you want to make that what you do day in and day out, you can do that. But it's a job. You have to treat it like a job. You have to treat it like, you have to fall in love with the work. And even when you don't love it, you got to do it anyway, right? So as an actor, yes, absolutely. There is a checklist that I would recommend, and I think it's in the book. But number one, you have to have a ritual. So create a ritual, make it a little uncomfortable for yourself on purpose. Wake up early, because the morning time is the best time. Anytime you can get away from everybody else in the world and just be alone with yourself, like that's the best for creativity. So I recommend you get up. You first and foremost turn to God, turn to your source, but read the Bible if you can. That's huge. Begin there, so you set your mind in a positive place. Have affirmations that you write down, so you're telling yourself ahead of time where you're going to end up going. Read your goals, have those listed out, then move your body. So I like to shower. I'll take like an ice cold shower in the morning, just to kind of fire everything up, and then you got to move your body. So for me, I'll like ride my bike to work, or do push-ups, or just something that's like 5-10 minutes. It doesn't really matter, just to get the engine going. Then read and write. And I think for actors, both reading and writing is huge, because our job is to present the written word. So for us to read it, and you can read it out loud if you want, but to read the word, and then to speak it out loud, and then for you to find a way to write down your thoughts. So you don't need to write a book. You can just write a journal, like anything, but just you learning to put your words on paper is such a huge thing for an actor, because then when you turn back and you look at some of these great plays that we've been talking about earlier, you have a whole new respect for the people that wrote them. And if you've done that every day, like if you start your day that way, you're going to be finding new ways to grind, and finding new ways to find something new to do. So all of a sudden picking up that monologue is not such a chore anymore.
Right. Oh, I love it.
But it's all about discipline. So going back to the books, I wanted to write a book for about 10 years. I had a couple different ideas. I started, I stopped, never worked out. I didn't write a book until I finally stopped trying to write a book. And all I did was I woke up one day and I said, this is it. From now on, I wake up at this time every day. I do this, I do this, I do this. And one of the things was write. So by writing every day for 1 year, I wrote 2 books. But I wasn't setting out to write a book. That's the secret.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah,
so if you're setting out to be an actor, if you're setting out to get an agent, if you're setting out to land a job, you will be disappointed. You either won't get it or you'll get it in a way you didn't want to, you know. But if you just set out to say, these are the habits that I'm going to put forth, and the thing I preach around here is, ideally, you're finding a way to move your floor. So this it's very similar to Atomic Habits. Your floor is what you'll settle for.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm up at this new place and I'm grinding at this in this new way, and let's say I've decided from now on I'm gonna wake up at 6, and I usually wake up at 7. Okay, cool. Then one day I sleep in, but my sleeping in now is 6:30. I've moved my floor.
Yeah.
Then the key is, as soon as that happens, be honest with yourself, and I believe shock the system. So in my mind, if I set it for 6, and today I hit 6:30, tomorrow's 5:30 or 5. Like, it's a big shock to the system to go, hey, wake up, because this is, you know, this is every day, man. You've decided this is every day.
Discipline, man.
Yeah,
it's
huge.
It's hard for yourself, hard as a parent.
Right.
You know, discipline is not the most fun thing for the parents.
and for all the parents out there, that is and kids, I guess, because you're being parented, but it's such a great way to look at it, because if you're honest with yourself and you go, would I let my kid eat this? Yes or no? Would I let my kid eat another helping? Yes or no? Would I let my kid watch the TV in their bed? Yes or no? Would I let, you know, and as soon as you start answering the questions and going, I wouldn't allow my 8-year-old or my 6-year-old or my 5-year-old to do any of these things. Why wouldn't you? Because you know it's bad for them.
Yeah.
So you have to learn to parent yourself, and you have to be honest with yourself. And even if you fall, like, no big deal, but you at least have to tell yourself the truth and go, you know what? You knew better and you decided to do it anyway.
Yeah. No, and I think that's really important for just on the parenting front. Again, the fact that you're modeling that for your kids is so critical. I've really been trying very specifically, and I'm not reading too many plays, although I'm going to develop that list, but I'm reading some novels. I'm reading some, I'm a big fan of a guy named Ben Greenfield, who just wrote this massive tome of kind of health and biohacking, and it's 600 pages, and I'm reading a chapter every couple days. But I want all the kids seeing me reading.
Yeah.
Instead of just glued to the television, and just showing them that, you know what, as much as I may want to watch a movie or catch up on, whatever show, I'm gonna take the time to read, and that is important to show that discipline for your kids and just be an example.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell someone to do something that you're not willing to do and you're not already doing yourself.
Yeah. So, dude, that's awesome. Those are kind of the top level things.
Dude, we're good. No, this is a great timing for our show right now. Actually, you were an awesome guest. You don't have that book I wrote yet, right?
I don't, but I'm going to get it.
I'm going to stick that in the mail today. I'm going to send you one for free. I want you to read it, and you can fall in love with it, review it online, tell everybody how great it is, and it's a quick read. It's like it's an artist organizational packet. So you're going to hear a little bit about what I said right now, but it also, it really simplifies some things that I know you probably already live by because you're successful, but you can even like pass some of this on to your kids, because it's a way to really kind of go, okay, like, here's how I have to discipline my life a little bit and track it if I'm serious about whatever I'm going to try to do, So
2 quick things, just kind of on that thread. One of my favorite things to do is give away books. I love giving away books because you're just passing on something that meant something to you. Yeah. So we'll make sure that others see yours, and I'll pay it forward on that. That you have my word on.
Awesome.
Second thing, you said it's a short book, and Winston Churchill is, I believe, who talked about, if you want me to give an hour-long speech, give me a day. If you want me to give a half-hour-long speech, I need a week.
Yeah.
If you want me to give a 10-minute speech, I'm going to need a few weeks or a month or something like that. I'm totally paraphrasing and butchering, but the point is, being concise is very, very challenging.
That's what I'm really struggling with on the other book that I'm writing.
And so hats off to you for
so
writing
hard,
a concise book, because that is I think that's way harder than writing the tome, because then you're not as careful with your words, you're not as careful with your thoughts,
right?
And as you're trying to keep things condensed so it's powerful and kind of nutrient dense,
yes,
that's a challenge.
It is.
So,
this other one, this bigger concept that I'm working on, I did hire an editor for it, and she's great, and she's from Canada, and she sends me notes and different things. But the biggest thing she helped me with was this like formula that she has that all of these business self-help and those types of books have, and there's kind of like these little sections that I didn't even know existed, but it's in every book, and there's little limitations that you're supposed to get, like about this many words and about this many words, and I'll be like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to take this big like 10,000 word thing and just bring it all the way down here? It's fun. But
she says a boot, right?
A boot, yeah. She's exactly.
Boot. Hey, one last thing, and I almost feel like I would be willing to pay more for a shorter book than I would a longer book.
Mm-hmm.
And last kind of like lightning round question for you: are these 2.5, 3 hour long movies getting too long?
I don't even know. Which one are you, like, name one?
No, you just like Irishman, or I don't know. I feel like everything could be a little shorter. I think I'm at a point in life where I don't have a ton of time. So if someone says, "Oh, let's watch this movie," and it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, I'm like, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So The Irishman, I'll say yes. That was a little long.
Okay,
because
a little long.
But yeah. I don't watch many movies anymore, or TV shows.
I don't either.
I'm bored by them. As soon as you become an avid reader, the TV shows and movies are just, you're like, really? So honestly, if there's a really good show or movie, I hope it's long, because they're rare. They're like a diamond in the rough these days.
Nice. I love that perspective. Yeah. That's great.
So I'll watch nothing until there's something awesome, and then I'll just sit there and enjoy the entire thing, and I'll hope it never ends.
Yeah, that's great. And Matt, thank you. This has been great. Great way to start my day.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, and thanks for being on the show, and thank you for all you are doing, you and the Attorney General. I mean, we love that we're feeling protected and whatnot, so thank you so much for what you're doing as well.
You got it. Same to you.
Yeah.
All right,
thank you guys all so much for watching this morning. Mornings with Matt. We are here every morning, 7 a.m. right here at the Deering Acting Studio YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the channel. That's huge for us, and we are on a mission right now to be spreading love, gratitude, light-driven content, and so the more you can like and share what we're doing here, it really helps us to do that. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.